South African Airways business rescue practitioners have confirmed that the airline has kicked off a retrenchment process. They say the intention has always been to preserve as many jobs as possible while still focusing on having a sustainable airline with a platform for growth. The joint practitioners, Les Matusson and Siviwe Donwana, says notices of consultation have been issued to all recognized SAA unions, both for employees and management. They expect about 4,700 employees to be affected. The number of jobs in the restructured organization will be the subject of a consultation process. They say SAA's financial challenges and the recent market decline in travel due to the COVID-19 virus will further exacerbate matters. They add that a number of alternative options have been considered, but that none would assist SAA in achieving all of its required operational efficiencies. For more on this story, we go live to our Bloemfontein studio, where we are joined by Mashudu Raphetha, the president of the National Transport Movement, one of the unions operating at SAA. Mr. Raphetha, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Good evening, Sipiwe, and to the viewers out there and the members of the National Transport Movement and the public.
What is your bone of contention? What is the real issue? Is it about the fact that you feel that there was not sufficient consultation, or you are just against the entire retrenchment process in its entirety?
Okay, first and foremost, the National Transport Movement is not surprised at the notice that has been issued to the trade unions. Actually, we have been waiting for the notice to come officially so that we can start engaging meaningfully in order to reach a common consensus to save jobs. Our members have been suffering in anxiety and depression associated things because they didn't know what's going on. Now that the business rescue practitioners have issued a notice indicating that they want to get rid of 2,200 members, employees at SAA, we now know where to start. As a union, we are entitled to be consulted for the mere reason that we are an interested party to that.
So in terms of the consultation process, are you telling us that there was no consultation process at all? Because SAA says it did issue notices of a consultation.
We have just received the notice this afternoon. We also met Minister Pravin Gordhan earlier this morning regarding the pending notice, and we were aware that we are going to get the notice. But what is important to the public is that we welcome the fact that this process may avoid the liquidation. But we are very much disturbed that the number is too huge. We were not expecting 2,200 because just recently in November we got 944. So we caught by surprise in terms of the number, but we were not surprised in terms of the notice that came to us. We also said as long as the process is facilitated by the Commission and the senior commissioners, we are going to engage and we will save handful jobs there. I think we can end up not having that number that you are talking about there.
You know, some unions, in particular NUMSA, said they could go on another strike if the retrenchments at SAA are not stopped. So what is the National Transport Movement's position if the retrenchments do indeed go ahead?
You see, we must not forget that the unnecessary strike in December last year has propelled this situation. We cannot, it is premature to talk about the strike now, even before we engage on alternatives. We have presented 4 important key issues that needed to be focused before any retrenchment. Terminate the non-value adding consultancy that are there at corporate at Airways Park. 2, in-source one of the big companies that we are paying over 300 or to 500 million that we're having. We're saying our members are ready to be converted and assume those functions. 3, we are saying let's get one new aircraft that can help us at cargo, because cargo on its own alone can change the situation and can carry all of us. 4, we are saying cancel the unlawful contracts that were corruptly awarded. And we have taken note that the last one was to make sure that we relocate or the office of Mango and other offices back to Airways Park, and also explore a merger between SAA and SA Express so that we can save a lot of jobs. So those are some. We have got 44 key initiatives that we've submitted. We also have another 7 quick sizable initiatives that we've submitted. We're happy that we're going to have a platform, a compulsory process in terms of Section 189. So a strike is not necessary at this point of time. It's premature and it's reckless.
You know, when you say that the strike, last year's strike, necessitated the current state of affairs, I mean, the possible retrenchment at SAA, but then one would argue that the talks of retrenchments have been, it's something that has been mooted even way before the strike. As a matter of fact, some would even argue that the strike yielded positive results because the unions both agreed to a 5.9% wage increase. So what makes you, what gives you that idea that the strike necessitated this current position by SAA?
To correct you, South African Airways came to the table last year. That 5.9% was already given even before the strike ensued. And we can place it on record that that 5.9% was, the deal was already brokered by NTM, and because we indicated that pilots received their 5.9 and that should be extended to us. And even to this date, we knew that a strike was not going to help this airline. It was going to exacerbate the demise of this airline. And we're still saying that for now, we cannot talk about the strike even before we start engaging. It will be premature. We need to wait for those 4 meetings in terms of the Labor Relations Act. Section 189 compels SAA to consult us. We've got 60 days minimum to ensure that we meet for those 4 meetings. And we are telling you that we're going to prioritize voluntary severance packages. We are saying SAA must extend 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, for those who want to leave voluntarily. 2, we're also talking about early retirement. Those who have reached the time to retire or national attrition may take that. Thirdly, we are saying we've got best trained employees in terms of skills. Let them be seconded to the government departments, including the SOEs such as SABC. We've got social media platforms where you can even tap in these skills. We also have taxation for those who can also be deployed to SARS. So those are some of the things that we are saying.
You know, events of the past, Mr. Raphetha, have had a very negative effect on the SAA revenue. As a matter of fact, the airline has seen a decline of about 1.3 billion rand in revenue. So what do you propose the national transport movement should see happen? So what is it that you think should happen as an alternative for going on the possible retrenchment drive?
All right. As an alternative, we're saying, let us make that quick decision. Let us insource. Out of those 7 service providers, if we can insource 2, we have saved the billions. For instance, some of those service providers combined, they can save us 1.5 billion. Why don't we save it now? Thirdly, when we were in Kenya towards the end of 2017, we found that the CEO there had over 30 years working in that company. We have failed as SAA to groom our CEO since 1994. We needed to groom someone. There's someone who has made a wrong decision in 2000, entered into an airline contract where we're selling tickets on behalf of airline. We flying in people to catch this flight of airline for 1%. That's shocking, and that person must be held to account and must be arrested, because Airlink has been the cause of the problems that we have. Yet the current BRP said, you know what, we're giving you the notice to terminate. But the media report as if when Airlink stops in June, SAA will be all in tatters. No, that contract was null, in fact was unlawful, and we are happy that it's been terminated. Let us look at, we cannot owe Airlink 700 billion, yet we get in 10 just under 1% or 1%, which is 70 million. It's pathetic.
Would you support privatization of South African Airways?
No, we do not privatize because we know that at SAA it is not an issue of ownership, it is an issue of poor governance, corruption, and lack of skills at the top. Because in the past 8 years, we had 8 different CEOs, we had 3 different chairpersons. So there's no organization that can survive with that instability at the top. And again, we blame cadre deployment. It is a right time now, these BRPs are given autonomy to get the right and capable person who has got financial acumen, aviation skills to steer this airline to a right direction. This airline can return to profitability in less than 2 years if these systems are to be put in place. We don't believe that SAA must be privatized. SAA must remain a government-owned entity.
All right, maybe let me just rephrase this question, that should the airline be privatized given the aviation deregulation policy in South Africa?
No, it must not be. There are many factors that have contributed, like I say, Simpiwe. It's not only the issues that I have just said. Even the decision made by government itself through the other departments, for instance, open sky policy that has been put in place. We are allowing every Tom, Dick and Harry to just land wherever. Recently, we built King Shaka International Airport, very new. Now we're stopping to go to King Shaka. We now want to stop to go to PE and East London. What are we saying? And we are inviting these foreign airlines to just come here and dictate to our own territory. We are saying, let it come to stop. We also addressed the Minister, Pravin Gordhan, and he promised us that this must be looked at as a matter of urgency. So the issue of ownership is not an issue as impure in this regard.
All right, Mr. Mashudu Raphetha, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
All right, that was Mashudu Raphetha, the president of the National Transport Movement. Well, they are basically saying that they do not support the potential retrenchment exercise that has been touted by the business rescue practitioners at the SAA. And as you just heard, that they are actually not in support of any potential privatization of SAA.